the future of accounts. What are common challenges faced in accounts payable moving forward? And for the longest time, I've been talking about challenges, and they come in three buckets, if you will. And I hate to tell you this, but they are the same. The first is technology and new technology. Not only do you have to stay on top of it, do you have to learn it. You have to understand how it can be used and how it can be used for fraud prevention and fraud protection and recognizing new frauds. Because as much as you and I are staying on top of new technology, so are the criminals. And as much as you and I are figuring out how to use it and how to make our lives a little bit more efficient and effective, so are criminals. And their lives being more effective and efficient include how they can defraud you easily. So we need to stay on top of the new technology and how we can use it for new frauds and how we can protect against it, and regulatory compliance. The regulators are using technology also. It's getting more complicated and more is being required of us. This is something that your accounts payable staff will be taking on more of as time goes on, just because we'll have to do more of it. Okay, what are the most effective ways to manage and mitigate risks in accounts payable? We need to have strong internal controls. Don't be misled that because we're using technology, the technology will do some of it for us, will do all of it for us. It may help us. I'm not going to lie. It probably is even better than we are at going in and identifying potentially fraudulent payments, which is a good thing. But we need to rely on the old basics. Same thing with separation of duties, which will become harder and harder because with technology we'll probably have a few people in our staff, and then we need to take care of it that way. Okay, so don't let the basics of strong internal controls go out the door. It's more important than ever. What skills are important for the future? Okay, if I have to identify one skill, and if you go away with only one thing from listening to me blather on today for however long I'm going to blather on, I would say that the one skill that will set you apart from everybody else, from your peers, at least for the near term. In the long term, everybody's going to learn how to do it. But for the near term, is learn how to write queries that AI will understand. I had one AI expert tell me that learning about this stuff is easier than Excel. And I have to tell you, I was around at the beginning of Excel, when Excel started. In fact, I was around when Lotus 123 started, which I know most of you weren't. Lotus was the predecessor of Excel, and I was around even for the tail end of VisiCalc, which was the predecessor of Lotus 123. And that was a whole brand new concept. It was something we had never seen. It was totally different, and we all learned it. We all survived. This is easier, so you can do it. But you have to just take the time and effort. How do you do it? This is, baptism by fire. There is nobody here to, say, here are the 10 queries that you can use in AP, although that's coming. I'm working on it. And it's just trial and error. I told you Microsoft Copilot. There's also ChatGPT. We also have a session on that showing you how to use it. It is not difficult, but you have to be very precise in your queries. So assume that the first time you ask it something, you may not ask it correctly and it won't give you what you want. So simple example. I was doing a talk on AI and AP. And I wanted to use Microsoft Copilot to draw all the graphics for my talk. Now this might sound complicated. It is not. I did it. But the first query I put in, I needed a clock. I needed a picture of a clock. I said, give me a picture of a clock. And it thought about it for, 15 seconds. And then it started spurting out. And it gave me a whole bunch of places where I could buy a picture of a clock. Okay? So that was not the right way to ask it. The right way to ask it was, draw me a picture of a clock. Clicked another 15 seconds. And it gave me 4 pictures of a clock. It asked me, was this what you wanted? Do you want me to add this to the picture? Do you want me to add that to the picture? So I had to learn to say draw me instead of give me, okay? Not hard, okay? And once I'm telling you, and once I saw it, it's like, of course, Mary. But you need to learn this. So practice it. And this will set you apart from all your peers. So if you do nothing else from everything and you haven't used Microsoft Copilot, I have a link somewhere in the description. Can you recommend a best practice philosophy for accounts payable? Yeah, and I didn't come up with this. I can't remember who did. Real simple, real basic, and we should all be doing it. Pay the right amount to the right vendor at the right time. Okay, very simple. Okay, and at the right time means not too early, not too late. I know sometimes a vendor will try and get you to pay them early, and you might be tempted to do it, but don't. You work for your company, you pay them when you're supposed to. What are the most ignored best practices in accounts payable? So I've got three that I always rant on, and hopefully you'll bear with me for 30 seconds while I go through them one more time. Okay, and most companies don't do this. I'm going to tell you less than 10% of the companies out there do any one that I'm about to tell you, but I'm going to tell you that's not going to stop me. Number one, rotate your invoice processes on a regular basis. That way they don't get too friendly with somebody at one of your suppliers, which is good if you have a problem. It's not good if they get together and decide to collude and defraud you. Mandatory vacations. Have a mandatory vacation policy where anyone who has anything to do with your money, that includes everyone who works in accounts payable, takes 5 consecutive days off holiday. And number three, have a separate computer for online banking. And what is the optimal frequency for check runs? So I'm going to give you my facetious answer, and then I'm going to give you my real answer. My facetious answer is never, because we'd have completely gotten rid of check runs. But since I realize that that's probably not realistic for anyone who's listening to this who works in or operates an accounts payable function in the United States, probably Canada too, and a few other places, let me give you a more realistic answer. You want to do check runs as often as you need to do them in order to get your supplies paid on time. So not every day, but typically once a week will suffice, sometimes every other week. I've seen organizations who are trying to get their suppliers to switch from paper checks to ACH, to go from having check runs once a week to check runs every other week, but doing regular pay runs. How do you align the accounts payable function with broader strategic goals of the company? And you want to do this because you want to make sure there's a role for you in the future. And there is a way, and there are things that accounts payable can do. And the first one is collaborate on projects with other departments. Accounts payable is not a silo, they're not an island, they're part of the bigger picture, so you want to collaborate. Accounts payable is one of the first functions that's being automated, so they may be able to offer some help to other departments moving forward. You can collaborate on some data analytics because accounts payable has access to those data analytics that will help other departments improve their process. Now, you want to tread very lightly there because you don't want to be seen as telling somebody else what they could do. Okay? You also can support any objectives like cash flow management. This has to do with timing of payments. Don't pay early, but pay on time, and providing information to various departments when they need it, which is also kind of the collaborative talk that we were talking about. And lastly, every organization's like cost-saving initiatives, so any that you come up with in accounts payable are something that you should be very much looking forward to. Can you discuss any recent trends or changes in the AP landscape that businesses should be aware of? The two big ones are the automation of the accounts payable process and the introduction of AI into the process. And now let's just talk a little bit about your personal future. What skills do you think are most important for somebody working in accounts payable? Obviously, you want to have good attention to detail. Analytical skills are becoming more and more important as we move from being a transactional function to more analytical function. This is becoming more and more important. Understanding different accounting software and automation solutions, important. Strong communication skills, more important, because again, accounts payable is not an island. And continued learning. You can't stop. There's no point at which you can stop. Will the AP function be eliminated due to automation? So no, I do not believe the accounts payable function will be eliminated due to automation. It's going to change thanks to automation and AI. I include AI in that. We're going to have less transactional work, and we need to adjust adjust. So if you cling to trying to just do the data entry and the transactional work, you may find your job in jeopardy. But if you adopt the challenge, if you step up to the plate and adapt, then there is definitely a place for you in the near future in accounts payable. As you can probably tell, I'm a big proponent of learning as much about AI and its impact on the accounts payable function as possible. If you want to know where to start, you can posted a link to several short videos we did on AI and in AP, including one on using Microsoft Copilot. Good luck.